Get ready because today, you're going to discover the secret that made Daniel Cormier whisper shocking things backstage. You'll see why Jon Jones might be rooting against Tom Aspinall, the devastating prediction that became a curse in the UFC, and the insane $250,000 bet that could change everything. Stay until the end, because there's a bombshell revelation. Ciryl Gane has been in this position before. Spotlights pointed, championship pressure, and the opportunity to prove he's the best heavyweight in the entire world. But on the eve of UFC 321, the former interim champion guarantees that this time the feeling is completely different. In Tom Aspinall, Gane doesn't see just another title dispute. For him, this is the defining challenge of his entire career. During a conversation with reporters, including cage-side press at his media day, Gane went straight to the point and revealed his impressions about the confrontation that's about to happen. This is a big challenge, and everybody already knows that. We don't need noise around this fight. Everybody knows we are a new generation. People waited for this fight for a long time. You can expect a big fight. But the statement makes it clear that Gane is conscious of the magnitude of the moment and the gigantic expectation that hangs over this historic combat. The Frenchman has already faced lethal knockout artists, grappling specialists, and veteran champions with decades of experience. However, he identifies something unique and special in Aspinall that differentiates him from all previous opponents. Unlike past opponents, Gane believes that Aspinall represents the new evolution of the heavyweight division: athletic, technical, and unpredictable in all areas of combat. Everybody has their strengths. Everybody has their weaknesses. The particularity of Tom Aspinall is that he's complete. He's a huge fighter. He's a new generation like me. Technical and fast. So he's different. This analysis shows the respect that Gane has for his opponent, and also reveals that he deeply studied the Brit's fighting style. Aspinall may not be the only looming challenge in the heavyweight scenario, for Gane should he emerge victorious on Saturday. Light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira has publicly expressed his interest in facing Jon Jones at the UFC's planned White House event in 2026. However, all signs indicate that Porton will be watching Saturday's main event closely. If Pereira moves up in weight, he will most likely be next in line to face the winner of this super fight. When questioned about this explosive possibility, Gane demonstrated genuine excitement. This is a beautiful idea. He has a beautiful story and increased in size. He can do it. He stays really dangerous. He can do it. I remember exactly the same situation with Jon Jones. We were talking about him jumping into the heavyweight division. We're also excited about Alex Pereira. The comparison with Jones is not by chance, since both are considered absolute legends of the sport. Gane was even more specific when asked if he would take a direct confrontation against the Brazilian. Yes, of course, this is a fight. Everything is possible in a fight, so yes, 100%. Yes, exactly, of course. I would be interested in fighting Pereira. The answer shows that the Frenchman doesn't run from any challenge and is willing to test his skills against any opponent that appears ahead. This warrior mentality is what separates great champions from mediocre fighters. Gane faces Aspinall at UFC 321 for the heavyweight belt dispute this Saturday, in a combat that promises to redefine the future of MMA's most brutal category. After reclaiming his light heavyweight title against Magomed Ankalaev, Alex Pereira made a shocking admission that caught everyone by surprise. He wants a heavyweight super fight against Jon Jones. Despite having publicly challenged Bones, the consensus greatest of all time recently retired from the sport, and now Tom Aspinall reigns as the heavyweight king. And this rapidly approaching Saturday, the Brit will make the first defense of his undisputed title when he faces Ciryl Gane in the UFC 321 main event in Abu Dhabi. Last year, when Poatan was reigning over the light heavyweight division seemingly without any effort, he hinted at a possible move to heavyweight, which left Aspinall extremely excited about the prospect. At that specific moment though, things were slightly different. as Aspinall had not yet become the undisputed champion of the category. However, before his fight in Abu Dhabi on Saturday, the champion gave his definitive answer about whether he would welcome the Brazilian moving up to the heavyweight division with a historic title fight. "Absolutely. I would welcome him to heavyweight," Aspinall declared to Sunsport with total conviction. The champion was even more emphatic when making clear his philosophy about accepting challenges. "You can ask anybody, mate, who has ever been involved in my career, the UFC brass, or anybody. I don't say no to fights. If I say no to fights, in my opinion, I'm in the wrong sport. I'm here to fight people, and that's it." A lot of MMA fighters get it twisted and start going the wrong direction. They start going the celebrity route and doing all this other stuff. "I'm here to fight people, and that's what I want to do. That's what I enjoy doing. That's what I've spent my life doing." The statement shows the pure mentality of a true fighter who doesn't let himself be distracted by the temptations of stardom and remains focused on what really matters inside the octagon. Since joining the UFC in 2021, Pereira has rapidly become one of the sport's biggest stars and continues seeking to break impressive records. And because of that, the British champion admitted he's a big fan of the Brazilian and would like to have shared the octagon with him before his career comes to an end. "I'm a big fan of Alex's. I'm a big fan of everybody who fights. Do you know what I mean? Especially guys like Alex, John Jones, etc. In years to come, when I've retired, looking back and thinking, I've fought those guys. That would be nice." The response demonstrates the mutual respect between the two warriors and also reveals Aspinall's desire to build a truly legendary legacy in the sport. Obviously, before the 32-year-old athlete can consider a potential fight against Pereira, he needs to overcome the difficult test that Gane presents at UFC 309 Bailey STF's 2021 this decisive weekend. Daniel Cormier accidentally revealed his true thoughts about the heavyweight division to the entire world in a way he definitely didn't expect. The former two-division UFC champion will be in the commentator role for UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi on Saturday night. Current heavyweight king Tom Aspinall will defend his belt against Ciryl Gane in the evening's main event in an epic confrontation. On Wednesday, Daniel Cormier sat down for a pre-fight interview with the best heavyweight in MMA today, but things only got really interesting when DC thought the microphones and cameras were off. The UFC Hall of Famer pulled Tom Aspinall to the side for what he believed was a private and confidential conversation. However, the heavyweight champion had his own cameras recording, and they captured absolutely everything that was said. "These matchups in this division, do you know what type of run you can go on? It would be crazy," Cormier whispered, thinking no one else was listening. "You can change your life. Because what is it? Jailton Almeida is fighting Volkov. Jailton can't fight. Even if Volkov wins, you beat him in the first round. It could get really crazy. You're on the verge of something really crazy, man. Things like that don't come around often. It's like when I got to fight Volkan Oezdemir. I defended the belt against Volkan Oezdemir one time, man." Did I win the lottery, son? The footage quickly went viral on social media after Tom Aspinall shared his Inside UFC 321 Media Day video on YouTube, generating millions of views in just a few hours. UFC fans shared their thoughts on what Daniel Cormier had to say in the comment section, and opinions were divided and intense. "DC out here sending mad strays," one fan commented with incredulity, while another added with confidence, "Disrespected. They will all find out." There were also those who questioned the former champion's discretion. "Loudest whisper ever. Bro might as well have just said it out loud." Some found the situation hilarious and commented, "My favorite thing about UFC is how unprofessional it can be sometimes." But not everyone saw the funny side of the situation. "Bro, this is a bad look for Daniel Cormier. Almost looks preferential, which you never want to see commentators have. A fifth fan commented with genuine concern about the impartiality expected from a professional in Cormier's position during official broadcasts. Ciryl Gane doesn't have overwhelming support going into UFC 321, according to the betting houses that place him as the underdog. But there's a chance that a much more notable voice could be in his corner, at least metaphorically speaking. Aspinall has publicly called out Jones for over a year, and even when he said he was willing to move on, fan fervor for the matchup remained intense. If Jones is watching this Saturday, Gane believes there's a possibility he'll have the former two-division champion on his side, supporting his victory. Maybe because I think Tom disrespected him a little bit, Gane told Full Send MMA with sincerity. So maybe he's going to be on my side. Maybe, but yes, he retired. Now it's our turn, and we will see this Saturday. Jones recently ended his retirement when President Donald Trump announced plans to hold a UFC event at the White House to commemorate Independence Day on July 4th, 2026, with the date tentatively moved to June afterwards. Jones stated his intention to fight on this historic and unprecedented card. Should that happen, light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira mentioned wanting to meet Jones in a heavyweight bout, apparently disregarding the current state of the division and who really runs it. With all this chatter looming over Saturday's main event, and Gane being quoted as approximately 3-1 underdog according to FanDuel, it's fair to ask if Gane is being affected by all this external talk. No, for people who know me, I really don't focus on the outside, what people think, the bettors, Gane said with absolute tranquility. I only focus on myself and on my strengths. If you want to do a real statistic, you must understand all of my career, all of his career, the opponent, how he finished, and day after day, I can see people's opinion changing a little bit. Because when you think a little bit more, you see, okay, it's not going to be an easy fight. The analysis demonstrates the Frenchman's maturity and confidence in his own abilities, regardless of what they say out there. Gane still thinks about the Jones loss, which saw him submitted by Bones in 2 minutes and 4 seconds. However, rather than be weighed down by the traumatic experience, Gane chose to grow from it, and he hopes that the lessons learned from that setback finally propel him to the top of the heavyweight ladder once and for all. Every time when you have a new challenge, you have a new experience, I got some big losses. We're talking about Jon Jones. I learned a lot from this fight, really. I fixed a lot of things from this fight. I grew up, my mindset is really different since this fight, and I was already detached from it. I got my real world with my family, all that stuff like that. That's why I don't have too much pressure. I'm not too much in the social media, and that's why I don't do too much trash talk or some stuff like that, because for me it's my job, I love my job, I love sports, I'm a competitor. I'm this kind of guy. This statement reveals the personal and mental transformation that Gane went through since that difficult night. After a comment made by Ciryl Gane during UFC 321 Fight Week, Tom Aspinall believes it spells danger for the Frenchman and could cost him dearly on Saturday. This approaching Saturday in the UFC 321 main event, Tom Aspinall makes the first defense of his undisputed heavyweight title when he faces veteran contender Ciryl Gane in a long-awaited duel. The two giants have been linked to fight each other on several occasions over recent years, and the current champion blames Gane for the fight not having happened previously, when both were at different moments in their careers. For the large majority of the build-up in Abu Dhabi, things have remained respectful between the two heavyweights who demonstrated mutual admiration. However, with just a few days left, tensions seem to be beginning to rise significantly. Heading into their main event, despite the heavyweight division being the most unpredictable in the entire sport, Gane isn't receiving much backing from people and betting houses. However, it's undeniable that Gane has more experience than the champion when it comes to fighting against top-level opponents, and especially more experience than Aspinall when it comes to fighting outside the first round, where the Brit dominates. The Brit currently has the shortest average fight time in UFC history, an impressive but also concerning mark, and it's unknown how he would perform past the second round in a prolonged war. And because of that, ahead of their scheduled 5-round fight, Gane stated he wants to take Aspinall into deep waters using his footwork and distance control as his main strategy. Did he actually use the words deep waters? Aspinall questioned at the UFC 321 Media Day with an ironic smile on his face. Everybody who has said the words deep waters gets knocked out in the first minute. Go back and check the media that you've done. So, I'm pretty happy with that. That's good. The champion's response carries confidence, and also an interesting analysis of a pattern he noticed over the years observing fights. Over the years, MMA fans have become used to seeing betting slips posted by world-famous artist Drake, and it has become something of a curse for fighters he bets on, with consistently negative results. However, ahead of the clash in Abu Dhabi on Saturday, popular female rapper Cardi B placed a big bet on the main event, wagering an impressive $250,000 on Aspinall to retain his title and emerge victorious. Hopefully, for Aspinall's sake, this isn't the birth of a new betting curse in the UFC, as contending with Drake is already enough for most fighters who prefer to avoid any kind of bad luck before entering the octagon.